There's a quiet kind of strength that often goes unnoticed. The strength of a woman who refuses to give up. She may not always roar. Sometimes her power lies in her silence, in her tears that dry before anyone sees them, in her steps that keep moving even when the road gets steep. Life has a strange way of testing her patience, shaking her faith, and challenging her dreams, yet she stands tall. A woman who doesn't quit is not someone who has never fallen. She is the one who has fallen 100 times, but every single time she chooses to rise again. She faces moments of doubt, days when the world tells her she's not enough, and nights when her heart aches quietly. But through all of it, she carries within her a flame, small, yet unextinguishable. Her power isn't loud. It doesn't demand attention. It's the kind of power that transforms pain into purpose. It's the courage to start over when everything collapses, the faith to believe that every ending hides a new beginning. A woman who doesn't quit teaches us that real success isn't about reaching the destination. It's about the persistence to keep walking. Even when the path disappears, she reminds us that storms don't last forever, and even after the darkest night, the sun always finds its way back. So, to every woman who's tired, weary, or feels unseen, remember this: you are stronger than you think, braver than you believe, and more capable than you can imagine. The world may underestimate you, but your spirit knows no limits. Keep walking, keep believing, and keep shining. Because the power of a woman who doesn't quit is not just in what she achieves, it's in who she becomes in the process. Resilience defines true strength. It's not the loudest quality a woman possesses, nor is it the kind that demands attention. Resilience is the quiet, consistent strength that holds her together when everything else seems to fall apart. It's what makes her rise again after every disappointment, heartbreak, and failure. People often mistake strength for perfection, for the ability to carry everything without breaking. But true strength lies in the ability to break and rebuild yourself again and again. A woman who doesn't quit understands that resilience isn't about pretending everything is fine. It's about finding the courage to face the things that aren't. There are moments in her journey when she questions herself, when her faith wavers, and when the weight of her responsibilities feels heavier than her hope. Yet, even in those moments, something deep within her whispers, in Dawaf, keep going. That whisper is her power, the unspoken force that refuses to let her surrender to her circumstances. The world might not see her internal battles, the nights she spends crying quietly, or the mornings she wakes up determined to try again. But resilience doesn't need an audience. It thrives in silence, nurtured by persistence and patience. A resilient woman knows that pain is not her enemy, it's her teacher. Every setback carries a lesson. Every hardship builds a layer of wisdom, and every disappointment teaches her what truly matters. She learns that growth rarely happens in comfort. It's in the moments of challenge that she discovers her real strength. When she loses something she thought she couldn't live without, and still finds a way to smile. That's resilience. When her dreams shatter, but she begins to dream again, that's resilience. When she feels forgotten, yet still chooses to show up with love and kindness, that's resilience. True strength is not about being unbreakable, it's about being unshakable in faith. She learns to bend but not break, to cry but not quit. Her resilience is built not in moments of victory, but in the process of surviving defeat. Life tests her repeatedly through loss, rejection, loneliness, or failure, and each time she gathers her courage like scattered pieces and builds herself anew. This ability to rebuild, to start again without fear, is what separates her from the rest. She doesn't let her past define her. Instead, she uses it as a stepping stone. Every scar on her heart becomes a symbol of survival, a reminder that she has endured and overcome, and through it all, she learns one of life's greatest truths. Strength doesn't come from avoiding pain. It comes from walking through it and still choosing love, hope, and faith. Her resilience becomes her quiet evolution, one that transforms her pain into purpose and her struggles into strength. So, when the world sees her smile, it might not know the battles behind it, but that's where her power lies, in the unseen, unspoken, and unbroken spirit of a woman who simply refuses to quit. Her resilience becomes her legacy, her silent message to every heart watching, no matter how hard life gets, rise again. Because every time she stands back up, she proves that true strength isn't in never falling. It's in never staying down. Failure is not the opposite of success, it's the pathway to it. A woman who doesn't quit understands this truth deeply. She knows that every setback, every closed door, and every no is not a punishment but a preparation. In a world that celebrates only victory, she embraces the lessons that come from loss. She doesn't allow failure to define her. Instead, she allows it to refine her. Each disappointment becomes a stepping stone, shaping her into someone wiser, more grounded, and more determined than before. There are moments when failure feels unbearable, when everything she's worked for slips through her fingers, when her efforts go unnoticed, and when her best still isn't enough. In those moments, quitting feels like the easiest option, but the woman who doesn't quit pauses, breathes, and reminds herself that failure is not the end. It's simply a chapter in a longer story. She knows that even though failure hurts, it's a sign that she's trying, that she's daring to grow, that she's moving towards something greater. She begins to understand that success isn't a straight line. It's a winding road filled with detours and delays. Every stumble teaches her patience. Every rejection strengthens her resilience. With every mistake, she learns what doesn't work, and that brings her one step closer to what does. She realizes that the people who reach the heights of success aren't the ones who never failed, they're the ones who never gave up. Their secret isn't perfection, it's persistence. When she looks back, she sees that the things that once broke her were the very things that built her. The job she didn't get, the relationship that ended, the dream that didn't unfold, all of it served a purpose. Those failures humbled her, taught her gratitude, and reminded her that her worth isn't tied to outcomes. Failure, she learns, is not a sign of weakness, it's evidence of courage. Because only those who dare to try can fail. With time, she stops fearing failure and starts befriending it. She stops asking, "What if I fail?" and starts asking, "What if I learn something powerful from this?" That simple shift changes everything. She stops measuring success by achievements and begins to measure it by growth. Even when things don't go her way, she stands tall, knowing that she is evolving into a better version of herself. And one day, when she finally succeeds, when her dreams begin to take shape, she realizes that the journey was never just about reaching a goal. It was about becoming someone who can handle both triumph and loss with grace. It was about learning to see value in every failure, to find beauty in every broken moment, and to recognize that growth often hides in the places that hurt the most. So, the woman who doesn't quit walks forward with quiet confidence. She no longer sees failure as an enemy, but as a teacher. Every fall becomes a reminder that she's still in the fight, still learning, still growing. And through each setback, she builds something unshakable, faith in herself. Because she knows that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the very bridge that leads her to it. Quiet strength is the loudest power. The world often mistakes strength for noise, for big gestures, for visible achievements, for the loud proclamation of success. But a woman who doesn't quit knows that true power rarely shouts. It doesn't demand attention or approval. It speaks softly through endurance, through grace under pressure, and through the way she holds herself together when everything around her seems to be falling apart. Her strength is not measured by how much she can lift or how fiercely she can fight. It's measured by her ability to stay calm in chaos and compassionate in conflict. There's a certain beauty in the way she moves through life's storms. She doesn't need to announce her battles or broadcast her pain. Her silence doesn't mean weakness. It means wisdom. She knows when to speak and when to simply listen. She understands that some victories are not for the world to see. They're between her and her soul. The quiet strength she carries is not built overnight. It's forged in the fires of struggle. In the moments when she had every reason to break, but chose to bend instead. When life throws challenges her way, she doesn't always respond with defiance. Sometimes, her greatest act of strength is choosing peace over anger, forgiveness over revenge, and patience over panic. It's easy to shout when life is unfair, but it takes a deeper kind of power to stay still and trust that everything will unfold as it should. That's her strength, the unshakable faith that even in silence, she is still powerful. She knows that true strength doesn't need to be proven. It doesn't need validation or recognition. Quiet strength is the confidence to keep showing up even when no one notices. It's the gentle but firm belief that her worth isn't dependent on the world's applause. In her silence, she is building resilience. In her calmness, she is gathering courage. And in her stillness, she is preparing to rise again. Her quiet strength is what allows her to handle what others can't see, the inner battles, the emotional exhaustion, the fears she never voices. Yet, despite it all, she continues to love, to give, to hope. That's not weakness, that's power in its purest form. The kind of power that doesn't need a stage because it shines even in the dark. Over time, she realizes that her calm presence can inspire more than any speech ever could. People feel her strength through the way she listens, comforts, and uplifts. She becomes a pillar for others, not because she's loud or dominant, but because her quiet confidence makes others feel safe. She doesn't seek control, she offers assurance. She doesn't demand respect. She earns it through her composure, her humility, and her unwavering heart. Quiet strength is rare because it requires self-mastery. It's choosing to respond instead of react, to think before speaking, to hold faith when fear tries to take over. It's the grace to carry pain without letting it harden you, and the courage to remain kind even when the world hasn't been kind to you. And in that stillness, she discovers her greatest truth. That real power doesn't come from being loud. It comes from being steady. It's not in the noise of victory, but in the silence of perseverance where her true strength lives. Self-belief is her foundation. It is the quiet voice inside her that says, "You can, even when the world shouts, you can task." A woman who doesn't quit learns, often through pain and experience, that no amount of external approval can replace the power of believing in herself. There are days when no one sees her effort, when her dreams look impossible, and when doubt creeps in like a shadow. Yet she stands tall, because her belief is not borrowed. It is built. It has been forged in moments when she had to be her own cheerleader, her own strength, and her own light. Self-belief doesn't come naturally to her. It's something she grows into. It begins when she realizes that her value is not defined by opinions, titles, or validation. She stops seeking permission to be powerful and starts recognizing that her existence itself is proof of purpose. She understands that people may question her path, underestimate her abilities, or try to box her into their definitions. But her worth does not need their confirmation. The moment she decides to believe in herself, she takes back her power. There was a time when she looked to others for reassurance, for someone to tell her she's capable, she's enough, she's strong. But life taught her that waiting for others to validate her only delays her destiny. So, she begins to look inward. She starts speaking to herself with kindness, reminding her heart that she's doing her best. Slowly, her self-belief grows like roots unseen but unshakable. It grounds her when life tries to uproot her. She learns that self-belief doesn't mean she never doubts. It means she never lets doubt win. Even when she's unsure, she takes small steps forward, trusting that confidence will follow action. Each challenge she overcomes becomes proof of her strength. Each time she rises after a setback, her belief deepens. She begins to see herself not as a victim of circumstances, but as a creator of possibilities. This belief becomes her armor. It protects her from the voices that say she's not enough, not ready, not capable. She no longer compares her journey to others because she understands that her story is unique, written by her own hands, guided by her own choices. Self-belief gives her the courage to take risks, to dream boldly, and to fail gracefully. She stops fearing mistakes because she knows that even in failure, she's learning, growing, evolving. When she believes in herself, the world begins to shift. Opportunities open, not because they weren't there before, but because she's now willing to reach for them. Her energy changes. She walks taller, speaks clearer, and moves with purpose. People sense it, even if they can't explain it. That inner belief radiates like light. It draws respect. Not because she demands it, but because she embodies it. And even in solitude, she feels strong. She doesn't need a crowd to remind her of who she is. Her belief becomes her anchor in chaos, her compass in uncertainty. It reminds her that she is capable of rebuilding from scratch, capable of surviving loss, capable of creating joy even in the middle of pain. Through every storm and every silence, her self-belief whispers a truth that keeps her going. You have everything within you to rise again. And that voice, that unshakable faith in herself, becomes her greatest foundation, the reason she never quits, no matter how difficult the journey becomes. Her scars tell stories of victory. Each mark on her heart, every wound she has carried, is not a symbol of weakness. It's a testament to her strength. The woman who doesn't quit has faced battles that no one else has seen. She has cried in silence, healed in private, and risen in public with grace. Her scars are not something she hides. They are proof that she has lived, loved, lost, and learned. Each scar holds a memory of struggle, of survival, and of triumph. Life has not always been kind to her. There were moments that broke her spirit, seasons that tested her faith, and people who wounded her deeply. But even in those moments, she refused to let pain define her. Instead, she let it shape her. Every heartbreak became a lesson in strength. Every disappointment became a reason to grow. Every loss became a reminder that even when things fall apart, she has the power to rebuild. Her scars tell the story of someone who refused to stay broken. There's something powerful about a woman who has been through storms and still chooses to smile. It's not the smile of someone untouched by pain. It's the smile of someone who has faced it, fought it, and found meaning within it. Her scars remind her that healing takes time, and that's okay. She no longer rushes her recovery. She allows it to unfold naturally. The woman who doesn't quit understands that scars don't disappear because they aren't meant to. They stay to remind her of how far she has come. Every time she looks back, she realizes that those painful moments were actually her turning points. The nights she thought she wouldn't survive became the foundation of her strength. The people who hurt her taught her resilience and self-respect. The failures she once feared are now the stories she tells to inspire others. Her scars are not ugly, they're beautiful reminders that she is still standing. They are proof that she didn't just survive, she transformed. Sometimes people look at her and only see her strength, her confidence, her calmness. They don't see the chapters that built her, the silent battles, the moments of surrender, and the endless tears. But she knows the truth behind her own journey. Every scar carries a message that whispers, "You've been through worse, and you made it through." It gives her the courage to face new challenges with faith, knowing she's already overcome what once seemed impossible. Her scars also make her softer. They give her empathy for others who are struggling, because she knows what pain feels like. She never judges another person's journey. Instead, she reaches out with understanding, with compassion, and with hope. Her scars have turned her into a healer, someone who uses her past not as a source of bitterness, but as a bridge to connect with others. With time, she realizes that her scars don't define her limitations. They define her victories. They are her medals of honor, reminders that she fought battles most would have given up on. And though those marks may fade, their lessons stay forever. They remind her that no pain was wasted, no tear was meaningless, and no wound was without purpose. Each scar tells the world a simple truth, that she has lived through the fire and emerged stronger, wiser and more beautiful than before. Her scars are her story, and her story is one of unshakable victory. She turns adversity into growth. Life does not come gently. It does not always hand her what she desires on a silver platter. Challenges arrive unannounced. Obstacles appear in her path, and setbacks test her resolve. Yet, the woman who doesn't quit has a remarkable ability. She transforms every difficulty into an opportunity to grow. She doesn't allow hardship to break her spirit. Instead, she uses it as a tool to sharpen her mind, strengthen her heart, and elevate her character. Adversity becomes her teacher, shaping her into someone wiser, more resilient, and more capable than she ever thought possible. Every obstacle she encounters carries a lesson if she chooses to see it. When dreams are delayed or denied, she doesn't dwell on disappointment. She reflects on what can be learned. Each failure becomes a mirror showing her weaknesses that need attention and strengths she may have overlooked. She understands that growth is rarely comfortable. It often comes dressed in struggle, wrapped in frustration, and accompanied by moments of doubt. But she doesn't shy away from discomfort. Instead, she faces it head-on, knowing that the lessons learned through pain are the ones that last the longest. When life feels overwhelming, she pauses, takes a breath, and asks herself the essential question: what is this situation teaching me? That simple shift in perspective transforms her entire experience. A challenge is no longer a threat, but a stepping stone. A failure is no longer a defeat, but a guide toward improvement. She begins to understand that adversity is not a roadblock. It is a pathway to self-discovery. Each trial becomes an invitation to learn patience, perseverance, empathy, and courage. She also recognizes that growth requires action, not just reflection. She refuses to remain stagnant in her pain. When faced with difficulties, she actively seeks ways to improve herself, to adjust her approach, and to develop skills that will serve her in the future. Every hardship becomes a laboratory for self-improvement, every mistake an experiment in resilience. Even when the results are not immediate, she trusts the process, knowing that consistent effort through adversity will yield transformation over time. Adversity also teaches her humility. She learns that she cannot control everything and that life's unpredictability is inevitable. Instead of resisting this truth, she accepts it, understanding that growth comes not from controlling circumstances, but from mastering her responses to them. Each challenge humbles her, reminding her of her humanity, and in that humility, she finds strength. Her power does not come from never facing difficulties. It comes from facing them with grace, courage, and determination. Through the process of turning adversity into growth, she discovers her own potential. The woman who doesn't quit realizes that she is capable of far more than she ever imagined. Every struggle becomes proof that she can endure, adapt, and thrive. The lessons learned in hardship equip her not just for the present, but for all future challenges. She emerges stronger, wiser, and more confident, not in spite of adversity, but because of it. Ultimately, her ability to transform adversity into growth sets her apart. While others may see obstacles as reasons to give up, she sees them as invitations to evolve. Each challenge becomes a catalyst for becoming the person she is meant to be. And in that journey, she understands a profound truth. The power of a woman who doesn't quit lies not in avoiding life's storms, but in learning to dance, grow and rise through them. Her persistence creates transformation. A woman who doesn't quit understands that true change rarely happens overnight. Transformation is not a sudden event. It is the result of consistent effort, repeated choices, and unwavering determination. Every small step she takes, every decision to keep going when giving up seems easier, contributes to a larger journey of growth. She knows that it's not the moments of comfort that shape her, but the times she pushes through discomfort, doubt, and fear. Persistence for her is more than a habit. It's a way of life, a silent promise to herself that she will keep moving forward no matter how difficult the path. Life often challenges her resolve. There are days when progress seems invisible, when obstacles appear insurmountable, and when the world seems indifferent to her efforts. Yet, she does not allow temporary setbacks to define her journey. She understands that transformation is a process that requires patience and faith. Each day that she chooses to rise, each time she chooses effort over surrender, she is building the foundation for her future self. Her persistence is like water slowly carving stone, steady, relentless, and unstoppable. She also understands that persistence is not blind repetition. It requires learning, adapting, and growing along the way. When she encounters failure, she doesn't stop. She analyzes, adjusts, and continues. She knows that mistakes are part of the process and that resilience without reflection does not lead to true transformation. Her persistence is intelligent, fueled by self-awareness, and guided by a clear vision of what she wants to achieve. She learns to keep her eyes on the goal, even when distractions and discouragement surround her. Persistence also teaches her the value of consistency. While others give up when progress seems slow, she continues with quiet determination. She knows that great achievements are often the result of long-term effort, patience, and incremental growth. The small, repeated actions she takes each day compound over time, creating powerful results that eventually become visible. Transformation is rarely instantaneous, but her persistence ensures that it is inevitable. Her continued effort also inspires those around her. People often underestimate her at first, thinking she will tire or falter. But they begin to notice her quiet determination, her refusal to quit, and the steady progress she makes despite challenges. Her persistence becomes a beacon for others, showing that change is possible when you refuse to surrender. She leads by example, demonstrating that transformation is not about luck or opportunity alone. It is about the willingness to keep moving forward, day after day. Even in moments of doubt, when the path feels unclear, she holds on to her commitment. She knows that transformation is not always about reaching a final destination. It is about becoming stronger, wiser, and more capable along the way. Each act of persistence strengthens her character, molds her spirit, and reshapes her life. Her growth is a testament to the power of unwavering dedication. Ultimately, her persistence creates a ripple effect. Not only does it transform her own life, but it influences the lives of those around her. People see her endurance, learn from her example, and are inspired to rise in their own struggles. Through her determination, she proves a timeless truth. Lasting transformation is born not from fleeting motivation, but from consistent effort, steadfast commitment, and the courage to never quit, no matter how long the journey may take.